Yeah, in about 2008, I was I knew an NHS nurse called Jo for quite a few years, and after about a year we got married. We got very close and we became lovers. She's a beautiful NHS British nurse, and she took me down to a studio, and we went to a studio, and I'm a musician. I'm singing guitar. I love music for years, and there was an art studio there, and can you believe it? I met Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson turned up, and not only that, I can tell you after this whole event that he said he wanted to work with me, and I'm there at the studio to do singing and guitar. And we were all really pleased about this. It was the best day of my life, and afterwards I couldn't believe it. Me and Joe were delighted, and Joe took me to the studio there. She was one of the nurses, and this was a great event in my life, about 2008. Oh, and he's heard all my tunes. I mean, I was doing some studio tracks at the time, and Joe had heard them all my tunes. Joe and her friends really liked my studio tunes. So Michael Jackson had heard them. He'd heard a couple of songs that I'd written and sung, and then he come down to the studio to say that he wanted to work with me as well. Okay, one, two. Okay. Yeah, about Michael Jackson. I mean, I got so many things I want to say about this guy. Um, the superstar, and he's just an incredible talent and person. Yeah, he was very attacked, and people don't know about it, and especially the medical situation. So let's look at his medical situation. I wanted to introduce you to it. All right, so he was attacked. Right, if you're a medical student or let's say a surgeon of some sort, you will know this is correct, and that during this event he was definitely attacked and even murdered. Okay, so medically speaking, that is. Okay, so in the Pepsi advertising advert that he did, I don't know, back in the 90s, early 90s, I think it was. He did an advert for Pepsi advert, and it's Saatchi and Saatchi. They are set this whole thing up, and Saatchi is the gay community. Okay, they are the hospitals, they run in psychiatry, and they are mass immigration. They want to turn you all African because you're currently too slim for them. They're homosexuals, and they want bigger guys for homosexual sex. Okay, so they're running Saatchi and Saatchi advertising, and they set up this whole elaborate setup. They also run psychiatry, okay, now hospitals. Now, psychiatry, Saatchi, the Pepsi advert, no, Saatchi runs the whole advertising industry. Their offices, I've been there, it's only African staff. Okay, they running TV advertising. Okay, they hate British people. All right, now they're calling you not gay. All right, okay, so with the Pepsi advert set up by the advertising industry and the farming industry, Pepsi, basically they set up Michael Jackson in a very elaborate setup. He didn't want to get involved in this, and he had to, and they gave him loads of money. And they say, if we give you this money, you're actually going to die. But when they're not going to tell you how they're going to do this, and this is how they did it. Okay, so he does this advert. They get somebody on the advertising stage, and they drop a firework on his head. All right, now they did that on purpose so that it would set his hair on fire, so that their medics can get in. Right, their medics are the gay community, and so when they got in, they treated him. Okay, so the way they treated him, let's look at that from a medical point of view. I mean, I love music, okay, so I'm interested how they treated this guy. Okay, so what they did is he had a burns on his head, right? So this is a paramedic story, right? So they would come in, paramedics would come in, and they would apply his burnt scalp with a topical application that alleviates the immediate pain he's having and any kind of burn conditions. So hospitals have many type of solvents that can be put on there. Right now, with this situation, they didn't put a solvent on his head. They put a solvent on his head, but they opted out for an injection. Right now, an injection is wrong. So you don't. He had a minor burn to his head. He needed a solvent applied topically. Anything else to a superstar is high risk. He needs to ask his insurance company first, right? If it's like you don't let somebody into superstar's house, straight into his kitchen, into his fridge, putting stuff into his food. You don't allow that sort of stuff, right? Now this doctor came in and injected him. All right, so why inject him? He doesn't need injection. He had a minor's burn to his head. He doesn't need an injection. So they injected him something that alleviates his burn. But when you inject somebody, it goes throughout your body. So he doesn't have any burns throughout his body. So he doesn't need an injection, right? Now, in that injection, you can see the results of that injection months later. All right, so months later, he has something, I reckon he was injected with something similar to horsetail. Right, horsetail will make your hair really thick, and, like unlivable with. And then it has other symptoms as well. So Michael Jackson was definitely suffering this. He has photos of where something's wrong with his androgen system in his body. All right, so that happened around his hair treatment. Right, so that androgen treatment he had was needed to be topical, not injected. Right, so if it was injected, it's going to have long-term and deathly effects. Okay, so having the androgen attack to him internally is going to affect a whole number of things. Okay, so if you want to look at what horsetail does to you, here is an example. It's like having someone put the Eiffel Tower into your glass and then you're having a drink. Okay, so that's the effects of horsetail. All right, so what is the Eiffel Tower? It's an erection. Okay, it's also horsetail, which fucks your androgen system, and it's used highly by doctors. It's actually created by the Doctor Society, Eiffel Tower and the Blackpool Tower gay community. Okay, so now they're attacking Michael Jackson. There it is. They've murdered him. Right, they injected him. There's no need to inject him in such a situation. No need at all. It was all set up for the one incident to inject him. The doctors killed him. They're killing all the music stars. Okay, so Michael Jackson complained considerably about the symptoms of the hair treatment that he had. In his interviews, he said it created symptoms and he couldn't stand it. It was killing him, and it killed him. Then they eventually killed him. They gave him propofol, which is fucking highly illegal. You don't give that to a patient on any circumstances. The guy that gave it to him is a murderer. And where's he from? Africa, the gay community. Africa's the biggest homosexual country in the world. Voodoo, let's ask the women. All right, about the gays and Africa and the upper classes, they're hunting. They eventually created bullfighting in Spain is hunting. African voodoo is bullfighting. And then so is the upper classes fox hunting. That's also hunting from Africa. And then so psychiatry is upper classes, gay community, and they're treating all patients like foxes and then injecting them with things like Parkinson's disease. And then they killed Michael Jackson. Okay, the doctor that was killed at the end of EastEnders, where the Pakistani shoves them off the building, that doctor that gets killed, he's basically head of all the corner shops. And he's actually trying to kill all the Pakistanis. He's getting caught now. He's trying to kill literally everyone. He's extremely sick. It's sick as a bone. What's happened in EastEnders needs to happen in the real world.